Yo, what is good, man? It's your guy Tico, guys, and we are back with Madden NFL 23 beta franchise and face of the franchise impressions, thoughts, and breakdowns, and what I seen that was different from Madden NFL 22 and Madden NFL 23. So, guys, we're gonna cover a lot of things in this video. I actually had to step away from YouTube for a while and actually just sit down and play Madden for some time to see what was different and what stood out to me versus Madden NFL 22. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and go for a few key things before we jump into the franchise stuff. I did see some things that stand out on Twitter to me. The first thing I'm gonna talk about is the actual equipment guru, one of the actual guys over there that does ratings for the Madden team. So basically there are accessories that are missing from Madden NFL 23 right now that were not in the beta. So we're gonna talk about padded sleeves, shooter sleeves with the pads inserted. Now, it was someone on Twitter asked equipment guru if the shooter sleeves with the pads were actually coming into Madden, and he said that it was on the radar. It was like super high up in the radar. So it's a possibility that we may be seeing that accessory hit Madden, maybe at lunch or right after lunch during a title update. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Another thing I've seen on Twitter is the Houston Texans official Twitter account. They talked about mascots in Madden NFL 23. So basically with the mascots, guys, the mascots are supposed to be getting scanned in the game now. In the video I'm going to show you guys, the mascots were scanned into the game, and they said that the mascots may get a mode like NCAA Football 14's mascot mode, where it was mascot team versus mascot team. But one thing too that I actually kind of picked out of this is that mascots will make a return in Madden NFL 23. So you got to think about things like cheerleaders, referees coming back on the field, things like that, the little small details that make the game even better and better over the cycles as the years progress. So with that being said, guys, we're gonna go ahead and go over the franchise mode right now, and we're gonna talk about what I've seen and what I love and what I didn't like. Let's get it. All right, guys, so in Madden NFL 23, in this beta, I actually went to franchise mode, and I want to go over one thing. The first bullet point in my notes is the motivations and player tags. So motivations and player tags is something new within the player cards in Madden NFL 23. So for instance, I chose Aaron Donald. I wanted to see if he had a motivation and player tags, and he did. Let's go ahead and break those down. So for example, Aaron Donald, his motivation said Super Bowl chase and has a high impact. The Rams have a franchise quarterback, and the state of California has no state income tax. So those are the motivations for Aaron Donald to play with that team. It made him happy within the motivation part of the game. Aaron Donald's player tag said that he was an award winner. Teams are more interested in these type of players in the free agency. So that's cool how those things play out on motivations and player tag. That's what I wanted to tell you guys, because clearly it's just crazy how it works and how the motivations and player tags can actually have some type of influence on the player in the NFL. In Madden NFL 23, it's kind of more of a scenario type situation. It gives you a little bit more leverage when you try to sign a player if they can fit to your scheme or system or something that they really like in real life. So let's go to the next part. So now we're going to talk about the player likeness updates. Now, one thing about my channel is that's what I cover like a lot. I seriously cover player likeness updates. That's like one of my things. So I looked at a lot of players, and I got a list of players that I thought stood out that got brand new updates versus other players that didn't, that may get updates due to the release of Madden. So let's go over it. I went through the entire roster to see exactly who was who. I mean, this took like 2 or 3 hours. Now, let me remind you, these shots are the out of helmet shots. These are not the shots of the player in the helmet on the field. This is on the player card, okay? So the likenesses stood out to me most starts with Patrick Mahomes. His player model was spot on, and the hair moved similar to NBA 2K's dynamic hair update technology, where the hair actually moves. It was pretty dope. It was pretty cool to see that with Patrick Mahomes and his hair moving, but as he was moving in the actual player card, when he, in the player card screen, dude, hair was moving. So that was dope. Another standout scan was Tom Brady's. Now, Tom Brady, he was a Madden cover guy, and he's made the Madden cover a few times, him and Patrick Mahomes. So it's kind of ironic how they both go together. So Pat starts first, and then Tom Brady is next. Tom Brady has like thicker eyebrows that looks more like an older version of him, and it's more detailed versus the other Tom Brady's in previous Madden face scans and previous Madden like updates and stuff like that. Like, it didn't look nothing like the previous ones. It actually had a lot more quality and looked pretty good. And the head scales are a perfect size, like to go with the jersey. I used to gripe and complain back in the day, right around Madden 20, that the head sizes didn't fit the bodies, but now with the new padding and how the bodies are actually redesigned, they look much more and much better than they did before. So that's one thing I want to give EA a shout out for that. George Kittle is another standout player that actually looks like himself with his hair, with his blemishes. I mean, he stands out. He stands out a lot more than he used to. You can tell that it's just a lot more quality. And this was on next gen. I'm playing on Xbox Series X, by the way, if you guys want to know the console. But George Kittle did stand out, and I wanted to put him on the list. Nick Chubb is another player that literally stood out. He stood out because his face scan was like really detailed, and it looked just like him as far as mannerisms, as far as some of his actual details and the way he's looking. It looked just like him. I was impressed with that. So Nick Chubb, salute to EA for that. Remember, he was out there when Micah Parsons and they had that, it was a tournament that they actually had with NFL players, and Nick Chubb was in that tournament. So I'm pretty sure EA got him scanned like out there with the rig, because it looks really good and is updated. Now let's talk about JJ Watt's face scan. It was kind of controversial. It looked like a Vicks cough drop, but his face did look like himself. And it was a hit and a miss because it looked like him. To me, I think that head shape is something that they use as a sculpture to go inside the helmet, and they probably hadn't figured that out yet. But I don't know. I like JJ Watt, but I didn't like JJ Watt scan, so I don't know. Like, y'all would have to see it for yourselves and give me the feedback, or let me know in the comment section below if you did play the beta and if you did see JJ Watt scan. Russell Wilson is another crazy standout scan in the game. He looked like himself, looked great in the Denver Broncos fit. I mean, his new uniform, he stood out. He was dope. So yeah, Russ was the man. I like Russ's a lot. Russ was dope. Russ is a standout. Ezekiel Elliott, one of my favorite players in football and one of my favorite running backs in football in this era. The thing is with Zeke looked great. Piercings on point, hair on point, head tie on point, the body, the ratio, everything was good with him. So I was pretty impressed with Zeke. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Cowboys fans out here. Rob Gronkowski had an amazing scan in Madden NFL 23. He was updated. He looks good and fixed, but Gronk retired. Yeah, it kind of sucks that you go through and look at scans and find the standout scans, and then one of your favorite tight ends in football retires. So the only way we probably get access to see this Gronk is in MUT. Hopefully he comes out of retirement and just comes back and plays one more year, at least in the playoffs or like the second part of the season with Tom, and we can get to see him again in Madden NFL 23. And maybe that would be his last Madden on roster appearance, because clearly he retired. Now, Derwin James is another standout person that looked pretty good in Madden NFL 23. As far as likeness updates, he was fire, bro, because you know he had the Derwin versus the world thing going on with Twitch. So you know he was close to people and he was getting scanned in the game. So you know his stuff is gonna look great. He looked dope. I did look for rookies, but I only seen 2 official rookie scans in the game. There were not any more rookie scans in that beta. It's just a beta, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more face scans in Madden. So then Malik Willis is in the game. His face scan is there. He was one of the first ones, and then there was another player. I think he was a linebacker. I forgot his name. I didn't even write him down, but I knew he was in the game. So it's like we got 2 rookie face scans in Madden NFL 23 as far as the beta, but everybody else, I didn't see anybody else in the game that was updated that stood out as far as a rookie, but those 2. But Malik Willis for sure. So let's talk about practice mode, man. Practice mode really stood out to me. Practice mode was something that it felt good, because a few days into the beta, I think it was a week after, it was after the first week of the beta, and we got an update, and that update gave us the practice mode. So we had the actual skills trainer, and then we literally had the practice mode. So the quarterback jerseys are going to be a different color from the practice team jersey. The rest of the team has the solid color jersey, and then the quarterback has like the color jersey. So like for Lamar Jackson, I think he had a red jersey on, and everybody had a white jersey. Now, one thing I did notice that the Baltimore Ravens like symbols and logos were on the sleeves and the shoulders of the jersey versus them not having a solid jersey. And another thing about the practice jerseys is that the jerseys had names on the back. Some did, some didn't, and majority of practice jerseys don't have the name on the back of it. So I was kind of like, all right, well, this is a beta, so that may be changed in the actual real game. And in practice mode, it's in franchise mode too, and it's dope too, and it feels good. I mean, those little small details really make sense, and they really help the game feel like football when they literally do that. Like when they upgrade and update the game with the right little cosmetics and, you know, practice mode, stuff like that. That really helps it, the jerseys, etc. So I was impressed with practice mode. So now we're gonna go over the cosmetics and equipment upgrades in Madden NFL 23. So in the franchise mode, the manage roster options, you can edit a player I took a deep dive into Edit a Player, so I do that every year on the channel. But I went into the NFL roster and searched high and low for newly added equipment, and we do have mouthpieces now. One thing about the mouthpieces is that we got them in like 2 years ago in a patch, but you can tell that they were improved and fixed and lined right. It says on my notes, mouthpieces, they're the same as last year, but they're updated and look more cleaned up. The chin strap and the mouthpieces are lined up to fit better. So the overall look of the helmet, the mouthpiece, the chin strap under it to fit better. And it looked really good compared to what it was in previous Maddens, like Madden 22, Madden 21. It didn't look as good then, but now it fits, it looks great. And let's go to the next bullet point. You can edit pad height. So the pad height and the pad size is something you could do, but with the brand new pads, it's one of those situations where some pads don't look right on some players. For say it's a linebacker or offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, a bigger guy, right? The pads do not look good, too small on big dudes, and some of those pads are not perfect, but it's okay because you can go in and change them. So if you have like a thing where you want to make stuff attention to detail like I do, you can go in and just edit and make it bigger or smaller, and it's just fine to do it that way because I think you could just fix it. But hopefully EA can go in and before the game comes out, they can adjust all the sizes to pads and stuff like that, because some people still do have shoulder pads and everybody's not wearing the little shoulder. Everybody has some type of different shoulder pad to really set them apart from the next player. Some players may not want that, so yeah, you can go in and do that. You can go in and edit the actual pad size, which is cool, so you can fix that. That's one of them. Jersey styles. So jersey styles in Madden NFL 23's beta, it's a new option added to Madden where this year you can choose style 1 for a jersey or style 2. So style 1 would be tuck jerseys, right? They're tucked in, look just like the NFL stuff on TV. And then style 2 is for the untucked jerseys. And the untucked jerseys come with a black t-shirt that hangs under it, that drapes under it, and it looks pretty dope. It's just something that looks like TV, and those are the only two styles. I don't know if more styles are coming in patches, in the future, but those are the two that are dope. And that second one is dope because you can untuck it and you have a t-shirt under it, and it's just, I don't know, man, it's just different. It doesn't look like what it was before because it was just stuck to just tuck jerseys, and that's lame. Like one thing, but shout out to EA for giving us more options to kind of make our player look crazy, to make them look like TV, and to make them look good. So now we got towel updates. So you can have a towel in the front, in the center front, and then you can have it on the left front, the center front, and then the right front. So those were happening. And then you have the towel updates where you can have it in the back left, the back center, and then the back right. So that's dope too as well. And one thing about it though with those towels is that when you wear the black jersey, like when you go jersey style 2 and then use a towel to tuck it like on the right or in the back, it clips. So I don't really think that may be a thing that may be in the original release, but it does clip. So when the towel moves, it clips through the black t-shirt in the jersey style too. So I wanted to bring that to your attention too as well. Arm sleeves. Now I kind of went over arm sleeves before. We do have a lot of different options for arm sleeves. I don't want to go through every single option like that. I do have them typed up, but I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. Now, the arm sleeve that everybody wants is the padded arm sleeve. The padded sleeve is the one that Equipment Guru was talking about on Twitter. So those are coming to Madden. It's on the radar, and the sleeves are updated. So when you go through them, you'll get all these different options of sleeves, and they were fixed, and they just cleaned up a lot in Madden. I'm happy with that part too as well. The last thing I want to talk about how the jerseys are wrinkled and how they look different versus like the last year's jerseys looked. The jerseys remind me a lot of NFL 2K8. It gives me the shoulders and like the wrinkle effect. So that's what those jerseys remind me of in Madden. So yeah, I was impressed with as far as the visuals, equipment upgrades, and updates. So let's go to the next column. The franchise UI. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the franchise UI and how it's cleaned up. So the UI is much cleaner than last year's and previous Madden games. Now let's talk about face of the franchise, the league, because that was available to do. I played it. I played as a quarterback and I played as a corner. And I like that you have defensive positions now in the face of the franchise as far as the linebacker and the corner. I like that. Like I played a corner with Dallas and it was cool. Like it was fun. And it didn't feel just like last year's or the year before. It actually felt like they added a little depth to it. I love the fact that you can start in the NFL instead of college in this one now. I know we got a college football game coming soon. I did have news. I did hear news on a college football game that's coming soon. So that may have a lot to play into the whole starting in the NFL thing with Madden in the face of the franchise, because you probably can do a draft class switch from the college game into Madden. But I do like you starting in the NFL because it gets cut through the chase. We've seen it over and over before in Madden of the past, and we just need something new. You know what I mean? We need something new, and I'm glad that they actually started out in the NFL. I'm liking the cutscenes a lot more than before in previous Maddens. The cutscenes just stand out. The acting is a little better than previous acting in different Maddens, and it just feels good, bro. Like, to come into a Madden with a little bit more love, you know, a little TLC, right? So I'm excited about that. The positions are quarterback, wide receiver, halfback, linebacker, and cornerback. Those are the positions that you can choose to be in the face of the franchise, the league. So you have a little bit more, and I think as the game rolls out and Maddens keep coming out and they keep dropping face of the franchise, you'll get more positions. So hopefully you can just get any position, you can be any player. The side activities menu, so it's a calendar where you can go in and do side activities. It gives me NCAA 06 vibes. When you go to school, you take tests, you can do things like play Madden with your friends on it. It's pretty dope, like how you can do it. I do like it, and I do want to continue to play it. I hate that the beta went away because I actually want to keep digging in, but I had fun with it. It was dope. The side activities was a good thing. The pacing feels good as far as the story mode and everything that happens in Face of the Franchise, so I had to say that. And I'm just excited to play Face of the Franchise when the full version of Madden drops, because with the little subtle changes, it helps the entire game and makes you want to play the whole game, especially from a gameplay and visual standpoint. For like the attention to detail, it makes you just want to play Madden more. So yeah, Face of the Franchise was okay. It could have been worse, but it was actually all right. I enjoyed it. All right, guys, so I do have some miscellaneous thoughts that I want to go over. I had some just notes and things I wanted to talk about that I seen. So it could be good, it could be bad. Now, what I'm gonna start out with right now is that mini game when you press A to do the stiff arm. I'm starting to see animations that repeat. So I'm not seeing like a variety of animations, and we need different stiff arm animations instead of the same one. So I see Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen doing the same stiff arm animations, which it should be different animations. They shouldn't do the same one. You know, they're two different positions, and they just shouldn't feel the same. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I want to point out that was a con. After the injury cutscenes, we need more variety. I only seen 2. I was playing a game, people kept getting injured, and it was like they're going back to the tunnel. So it was the same animation, and we just need different cutscenes to kind of make it feel good and make it feel different. A pro is I played this beta more than I played Madden 22. Now, with Madden 22, I played it a few times, but it didn't grab me. It didn't grab me as much as the beta grabbed me. The beta literally grabbed me so much that I had to play it every day, and I wasn't even uploading because I wanted to make this video and I wanted to be fully engaged in that beta so I can let you know how I felt about it and how it was really playing, how it was really going for me with that beta. And that beta is, I hate it's gone. I just hate it's gone. The defensive backs are ball hawks and very aware in this version of Madden. I had a situation where I threw a Hail Mary at the end of a game. 3 DBs and a wide receiver were all after that ball, and more for the Niners went to catch it off the bobble and took it to the house to score a touchdown. The CPU DBs are really good in Madden this year. And I'm impressed because they were not that good last year. They didn't pay attention. It's just like they were just all over the place. You know, it was just like all canned animation. It's just like, I don't know. It's just something about how free they are and how aware they are as an NFL defensive back. So the View Highlights tab seems to replay all the key plays of the game. Previous Maddens really had it where you had some super good plays and they did not work in the actual like replay. It didn't work at all. It did not have an option to play exactly what you're supposed to have played. If I had a 99-yard kickoff return, and it just wouldn't show up in Madden 22. So in this Madden so far, it's working. But my pet peeve with it is that it doesn't start the play from the beginning. So for say if you did get a pick, it didn't show you actually catching the ball and running it all the way back to the house. It just showed you running the ball back. So that needs to be fixed. We need a little bit more time on the replays, especially for people who make like highlights and do stuff like that. I do that stuff. Degradation. Field degradation, the field, you can see it. You can see it tear up. It was the Buccaneers and Scotty Miller and Tom Brady and everybody. I was in the franchise mode with Grunk. I had a actually like career mode, like franchise, I used Grunk, and you could just see the field just tearing up. You could just see as the game progressed that the field was getting nasty. And you could see the actual mud and crap all over the players, like on their jerseys and elbows and stuff like that. So I haven't seen that since like Madden 09. So I'm pretty excited about that. The game, I guess it's a bug in the beta where the game didn't go overtime. The commentary was off and saying the wrong things at the end of the game. But I mean, that's pretty much it. The game is good. I like the game. I am impressed. I will be playing it full time now. I'll be playing Madden 23. I'll play it on the channel now. Finally, I like it to a point where I want to play it. And this is my true impressions of how I feel about franchise and Madden overall. And I just want to put this video out for you guys because I felt like it was much needed from someone who doesn't run a Madden channel, someone who knows football, plays football, and loves the college game, but the Madden game is great. And I think the college game will be good. If they're building Madden and giving this type of effort into Madden, I think that college game is going to be awesome. I'll be back with a video talking about the college game as well too. Just talking about the college game and just breaking down the news and what I heard as well. So, and with that being said, guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It's only free to do so. Join the G's. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified when the videos literally drop. You need to know when the videos drop. Hey, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at TicoisTocory. Keep up with the latest, greatest updates. And last but not least, hit that like button. It helps a lot. And the YouTube algorithm. It's your boy Tico. I'm out. Peace.